So hello and welcome to this week's Tech Plugged In. So this week we're going to be taking a look at things from E3 and the back end of Computex. So first off we have got the horror story that is the pricing of X570 motherboards. Then we have got several leaked benchmarks from the upcoming AMD Ryzen 3000 series. And finally, the Ryzen 3000 chips that we didn't hear about at E3. So obviously with the arrival of the new Ryzen 3000 series CPUs, there comes the inevitable release of new motherboards on new chipsets. Currently, only the X570 chipset hasn't been announced, and as we've reported before, it has a ridiculously high TDP for a chipset when compared to last generation, and unfortunately, it looks like it is going to be more expensive than possibly even Intel's Z390 chipset. There are also reports of the boards being more expensive than the top end of the X470 boards. So a lot of this has come from the CEO of MSI, who has said that AMD is changing its marketing strategy to being more of a premium brand rather than just the value alternative to Intel. They are a different company compared to 2, 3, 5 years ago, and they're putting high specs and higher prices to match. So some of the increases don't come from AMD themselves, but rather from motherboard manufacturers increasing the number of VRMs and putting powerful active cooling onto the chipset. So when you take a look at ASUS's X570 motherboard prices, even the cheapest motherboard, which is the X570 Prime P, is priced at $160 US. And then as you go up the stack, you get the Tough Gaming X570 Plus, which will then go for $170. And then the exact same board, except with Wi-Fi 6 integrated, will be $185. So then things start getting crazy, as we have things such as the Prime X570 Pro, which is the successor to the $150 Prime X470 Pro, will have a $250 price tag. This is a massive increase, and as you just look at the prices, the cheapest ROG board is the Strix X570F Gaming, which will ship with a $300 price tag, and this is where the high end begins. When you go up all the way to the top end of it, however, you have the things such as the ROG Crosshair 8 Formula, which is $700. So this is more expensive than even Rampage Extreme products from the Intel high-end desktop platform. So there are many reasons obviously for these price increases, and hopefully soon we will get the B550 chipset come out for those of us, such as myself, that simply cannot afford the higher price tag that these boards are commanding. And now we will move on to the benchmarks that have come out for some of the new Ryzen 3000 series CPUs. So we have leaks from both the top end and the more low end. So we have leaks of the Ryzen 9 3950X's performance in Geekbench. So it has got, for single core, a 5868, which when compared to a 9900K is only a small amount lower than the 9900K's 6200 in the single core. And then when you look at the multiple core, you get a 61,072 on the new AMD chip, whereas you only get 31,000 on the 9900K. So this shows that the Ryzen 3000 chip is a very capable chip. Now obviously this testing has been done by AMD, so we cannot tell how authentic and how many measures they took to try and increase it. And we have actually also heard reports that the AMD part is only slower due to it having a lower core clock, and that it can actually equalize or perform better when overclocked to 5 GHz, which is the same as the 9900K. So we then also have the fact that these processors are going to be equipped with the latest precision boost overclock, which means that the boost clock can be increased by up to 200 MHz, and we will even have increased limits for this as well. Now also something I found myself while looking at parts is on CPU.user benchmark, we have leaks of the Ryzen 3600 benchmarks, in which it ranks reasonably well when compared to other chips. So let's now take a look at it. So it has an average bench of 105%, and this puts it in 26th out of all the chips that have been tested. So currently this is at the bottom of the Ryzen 3000 lineup, and save for the APUs, which I'll get onto later. So this Zen 2 chip has a 3.6 GHz boost and 4.2 base boost, and it is a hexa-core chip with SMT. So it is obviously going to come with PCIe 4.0, etc., and all those bells and whistles. And obviously I wouldn't suggest that you run out and pre-order this chip just based on these benchmarks, but these benchmarks are making me take a look at upgrading my rig from a piece of rubbish to a very capable machine for editing and gaming. Finally, we are going to be taking a look at AMD's new Ryzen 3000 APUs. Now these weren't actually mentioned at all in their keynote at E3 or Computex, but these are new chips, and they will bring a smile to those of you that are really struggling for money but need a new rig. So there are a few things to bear in mind with these chips, and that is the fact that even though they carry the 3000 series model names, they're not on 7nm Zen 2 cores. That's reserved for the CPUs alone, not the APUs. So these are still actually based on 12nm Zen Plus, but these are actually quite interesting. This isn't as bad as you might think though, however, as the 2200G and the 2400G APUs were introduced with AMD's original 14nm Zen cores, even though they were on the called 2000. So the core technology in these APUs always seems to lag a generation behind the much pricier newer chips. So there are several spec bumps from these chips. They get an increase in both graphics clock and CPU core clock, and this allows them to run faster, but they are also priced cheaper when compared to the previous generation. So this makes them look like a very good alternative for those of you that need a value chip and cannot afford a graphics card. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have learned something from this week's news. Now please feel free to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more content like this every week.